Hey everybody, so I want to start with something. You cleaned up your diet, not halfway, like you fully cleaned up your diet. You cut the sugar, you cut the processed stuff, you added the vegetables, you increased the protein, and you stayed consistent. Not for like a week, but for a whole month or for months, okay? And the midsection weight didn't move, or it moved a little and then came back, or the bloating got worse with the cleaned up diet, or you felt worse than before you started, right? Or when you started. Maybe your clothes fit differently depending on the day, not the week, the day. Like during the day, you're noticing changes. Maybe you're sleeping the same number of hours and waking up just as tired. Maybe the woman in the mirror looks like she's trying just as hard as the version of you from 5 years ago and getting a completely different result. And the message you keep getting from everywhere, right? From everywhere was that you just hadn't been disciplined enough. Maybe you're even telling yourself that, or that you needed to try harder, or maybe you need to just cut out more stuff or stay stricter. I want to talk about that today, y'all, because that particular message is wrong. Those messages are wrong. And I can show you exactly why. Okay? So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Miriam, and today is Wind Down Wednesday. So what we're going to talk about is the nourishment axis. Okay? And the nourishment axis is the third axis of my tri-shift sequence. And I think by the end of this, you're going to understand something about your metabolism that nobody has explained to you yet. I really, really, truly believe that. Okay, so please stay with me. All right, y'all, so let's get into it. Before we get into the mechanics, though, I want you to picture two versions of you. The one from 10 or 15 years ago, okay, who could skip a few meals, add a few workouts, and watch that scale respond without a couple of weeks or within a couple of weeks, right? You just doing not a whole lot and getting results. And then I want you to think about the one sitting here tonight who's doing more than that version ever did and getting less back for it. So you're doing more than ever. What changed is the internal environment, not your effort. The rules shifted, y'all, underneath you. And most of the advice circulating right now was written for the environment you used to have. I want you to understand that. You can find that advice everywhere, right? In the comments on every post like this video from women who mean well, they do, telling you to just eat cleaner or to just move more. And for a lot of women at a different stage of life, that advice would actually work because it worked for you once upon a time, right? Worked for me once upon a time. It's just answering a question that your body, my body, isn't asking anymore. And that's as simple as that. So here's the assumption that almost every dietary intervention for women in perimenopause, menopause is built on. If the weight is there, food choices put it there. So different food choices will remove it. Listen, I get why that assumption exists, because for most of our lives, your life, my life, that was true. Eat less, move more. Clean up the diet, and your body responds. That model worked. It did, and it's working for those 25-plus-year-olds, right? It doesn't work for us the same way anymore, and here's the biological reason why. I'm always going to go back to the biology. Your liver is producing glucose right now, independently of what you ate today. Cortisol's job during a stress response is to flood your bloodstream with glucose, emergency fuel, fight or flight ready. And it does that by telling your liver to produce and release glucose, a process that's called gluconeogenesis. Now, you've probably heard me talk about that before. The liver doesn't wait for you to eat something. It just releases. Now, in a normal stress event, that's fine. Cortisol spikes, the liver releases glucose, the threat passes, Cortisol drops, the signal stops. But in perimenopause, as estrogen and progesterone decline, the buffer that was dampening cortisol withdrawals, cortisol rises, not because your life got harder, just because the hormonal shock absorbers aren't there anymore. And when cortisol is chronically elevated, the liver gets a persistent low-grade production signal. Your blood glucose is elevated, not because of what's on your plate, because your cortisol is running the production signal upstream of your plate, okay? Now, insulin responds exactly as it should. It clears the glucose by storing it. And where it stores it preferentially, where does it go? Visceral adipose tissue, the midsection, because that tissue has more cortisol receptors than anywhere else in the body. So the midsection weight is there. And the clean diet did not move it because the clean diet was addressing glucose that came from food. The cortisol was producing glucose that bypassed the food entirely, okay? Now, that's the reframe for today, y'all, okay? Not that food doesn't matter. I will never say that. It does. It does. But food operates downstream of a driver the food intervention was never designed to reach. Now, let's talk about mechanism one, hepatic glucose production, the driver upstream of the plate. Okay, now what is that? What is it? Cortisol triggers the liver to produce and release glucose, gluconeogenesis, regardless, y'all, of dietary intake. In an acute stress event, this is adaptive. You need the fuel. When cortisol is chronically elevated, as it is when the hormonal buffer has withdrawn, the liver gets that signal persistently. Blood glucose stays elevated even on a clean, low sugar protocol. Insulin rises to manage it, not because of what she ate, but because of what cortisol told her liver to do. Okay? So, here's the thing about that clean diet. The liver doesn't care what you had for breakfast. It's responding to cortisol. She did everything right. And the driver was running in a completely different system. Now, you may be wondering, well, why does this even matter? Why does it matter? Well, the dietary intervention was addressing glucose from food. The cortisol signal was producing glucose that bypassed the food entirely. No dietary change suppresses cortisol-driven hepatic glucose production. The intervention and the driver were in two different systems the whole time. And y'all, listen, here's what that means practically, okay? You could remove every gram of added sugar from your kitchen for a whole year, and your liver would still release glucose on its own schedule because it is responding to a hormone, not a grocery list, okay? Restriction doesn't reach a process that was never triggered by food in the first place. And I want y'all to understand that, please. And leave comments, questions, whatever in the comment section. All right, so this means the midsection weight isn't measuring your discipline. It's measuring your cortisol load. And those two are completely different things. Now, mechanism number two, insulin resistance. What happens when insulin stays high? So what actually is that? When insulin is chronically elevated, cells start down-regulating their insulin receptors. They become less responsive to the signal. To compensate, the pancreas produces more insulin to get the same job done. Higher insulin levels, less efficiency, that's insulin resistance beginning to form. And chronic high insulin has downstream effects that go way beyond the midsection, okay? Now, this is the cascade. It drives visceral fat storage and actively blocks fat mobilization. The body will not release stored fat as fuel when insulin is high. This amplifies systemic inflammation, joint stiffness, skin reactivity, energy crashes after your meals, disrupts leptin signaling, the satiety hormone, which is why some women eat a full meal and still feel unsatisfied. Also, it drives the 4 p.m. glucose drop that produces the brain fog, the cravings. There's a sleep piece too. High insulin and cortisol driving it don't stay contained to the day. They show up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, when blood sugar dips and cortisol spikes to correct it, and wakes you up wired for no reason you can name. Just waking up wired. And this is the same mechanism behind the workout that stopped working. And I'm not saying don't work out. Please keep exercising, but you might have to modify it. We'll talk about that another time. Insulin blocks fat mobilization. It tells the body to hold what it's storing. So the strength training is happening, the steps are happening, and the body still won't release the fat that it's sitting on because the chemical signal to release it is not there yet. So she's treating the joint stiffness with anti-inflammatory foods. She's treating the afternoon crash with more protein. She's treating the cravings with willpower. I'm not going to do it. And they're all the same thing, okay? Every one of those is insulin, one driver, 5 symptoms, which means the joint stiffness, the post-meal crashes, the midsection, they're not separate problems. They're one pattern, one driver. And the driver isn't the food. The food is just where the driver is showing up. Now, let's talk about mechanism 3. The gut-glucose connection, what the gut can actually receive. So what exactly is that? The gut hormone connection runs in both directions. Hormones affect gut function affects hormone metabolism. Cortisol's effect on the gut, well, it suppresses digestive motility. It increases intestinal permeability. It shifts the gut environment. The estrobolome, which is the specific microbial community that processes and clears estrogen, is directly affected by chronic cortisol load. When the estrobolome is disrupted, estrogen that should be cleared recirculates, adding a hormonal layer on top of the metabolic one. So you may be wondering why this matters. Okay, why does this matter for the nourishment axis? Food choices land in a gut that is operating under cortisol pressure. The same food that would produce a stable, well-absorbed, anti-inflammatory response in a regulated gut produces a different result in a cortisol-disrupted one. This is why 2 women can follow the exact same protocol and get completely different results. The gut environment is different, and the gut environment is downstream of the nervous system. Now, it also shows up in your bowel habits, bowel, B-O-W-E-L. The constipation that wasn't there before, or the urgency that comes out of nowhere. You got to run to the bathroom. Motility slows under cortisol. Transit time changes, and a slower gut means everything sits longer, ferments more, and produces more of the bloating that you're already dealing with. None of that is about what you ate today. It's about the speed and condition of the system the food landed in. So nourishment isn't just what you eat. It's what your gut can receive right now. Think about it this way. You can be eating all the right things and still not getting what you need from them because the receiving end is compromised. That's a gut environment problem, okay? And the gut environment is downstream of cortisol, which means the question isn't only what to eat. It's whether your gut is in a state to receive what you're eating. And that state is determined by what's happening in your nervous system before the food even arrives, y'all. So let me just tell you what this looks like, okay, in an actual day. Let's do that. So You wake up and you're not that hungry. Anybody can relate to that? Appetite just isn't there, so you eat anyway. You know you should. And the morning is actually fine, stable. You think, okay, good day. And then 4 p.m. happens. The thinking gets harder. A craving shows up. Not a gentle preference, something with an edge to it. You reach for something you wouldn't normally reach for. And before you've even finished it, you feel guilty. Y'all, but here's the thing. That crash, 4 p.m., maybe earlier, was going to happen, regardless of what you ate for lunch. The craving was cortisol driving blood glucose down after an insulin spike that your diet didn't cause. The guilt was you taking responsibility for a mechanism that was running upstream of every food choice you made. Or maybe it's the midsection. You can tell me exactly what you've eaten this week. You've been meticulous. And the midsection is exactly where it was 6 months ago. Maybe slightly worse. The explanation you keep getting is, cut more, move more, try harder. But you're already at the limit of what that can produce. Or it's after meals. You eat something clean, something any nutritionist, myself included, would approve of. And 30 minutes later, you're bloated. Your joints feel, it's going to feel it the next day. Your skin breaks out and you started having a complicated relationship with food. Because the thing that's supposed to nourish you seems to be working against you. Or maybe it's the workout, right? You added the strength training 3 days a week, sometimes 4. And I'm not telling you not to do that, all right? You're lifting heavier than you were a year ago. Your trainer is impressed. And your body composition isn't shifting the way every fitness article told you it would. You start to wonder if you're doing the exercises wrong, or not lifting heavy enough, or not eating enough protein around your, workout sessions. You're not doing it wrong. I want to make sure I say that. You're asking your muscles to release stored fat while a hormone signal is telling your body to hold onto it. The training is building the muscle. It's just not getting permission yet to use what's stored underneath it. And it's easy to make that mean something about you, that you're not working hard enough, or that your body just responds differently than other women's. But the women whose before and afters you're scrolling past on TikTok, Instagram at midnight aren't running the same hormonal math that you are right now. Some of them aren't running it at all. Some of them are 10 years younger, or they're not in this transition yet. Or the photo was taken on a day that doesn't represent the other 364, okay? Listen, I want you to hear me clearly. You're comparing your physiology to a highlight reel that was never built to show you the mechanism underneath it. So it's not working against you. It's landing in a system that isn't ready to receive it yet. And that system is upstream of every dietary choice that you've been making. Now, if any of that's running for you right now, listen, this particular session, this video was built for you. And what I would love for y'all to do is drop in the comments, which one of those is loudest for you right now? Is it the 4 p.m. crash, the midsection, the post-meal reaction, or the workout that's not working? Just post it in the comments. I love seeing what you guys post, by the way. I love it. It means a lot to me. All right, so here's where we are. You now know that the nourishment axis is not just about what you eat. It's about what your gut can receive, and that's determined by what's happening in your nervous system and your circadian rhythm before the food arrives. The hepatic, talking about the liver, the hepatic glucose production running upstream of your plate. The insulin driver producing symptoms your dietary choices cannot reach. The gut environment operating under cortisol pressure and delivering different results from the same food. And the workout that stopped working. The 2 a.m. wake up. The bowel habits that change without warning. Constipation or that urgency. Y'all, those aren't separate mysteries, okay? They are the same 3 mechanisms showing up in different rooms of the house. Your body is the house, okay? That's the what, that's the why. Now, the how, the specific nutritional framework for your archetype in the sequence your physiology requires is where it gets precise. The glucose timing approach that works first for an insulin inflamed pattern is not the starting point for a, say, thyroid slowed pattern. The gut support that resolves estrogen stuck recirculation requires a different sequence than what a gut hormone disconnected pattern needs first. The sequence is not universal, it's yours. It is yours. Depends on you, your body, your pattern. Now, the how applied to your specific archetype in the correct sequence is exactly what we build together inside of my Done With You protocol build, okay? Now, I will let you know that the second cohort opens June 29th. Now, my circle members get first access, and if you're not in the circle yet, I want you to know it is free, and the link is in the description. And listen, y'all, if you have not taken the archetype quiz, the gut hormone pattern quiz, I want you to do that tonight. It takes about 4 minutes. The link is in the description alongside the link to join our free online circle. That's your first step. Okay, now, before I let you go, I want to bring this back down. All right, we've covered 3 mechanisms tonight: your liver, your insulin, your gut, and that is a lot to take in while you're sitting there, maybe with your phone propped up, maybe you're, I don't know, folding some laundry tonight. I don't know, whatever you're doing. Let's slow all the way down for a minute, okay, before you go. Your wind down for tonight. And I want you to know that I picked this one specifically for what we just covered, okay? We've been talking about a nervous system that's running under cortisol pressure. A body that's in a kind of low-grade brace state, okay? The jaw that's slightly clenched. The shoulders that are sitting just a little higher than they need to be, right? The belly that's being held in without you even noticing. Chronic cortisol does that. It keeps the body in a background state of readiness. And the thing about that state is it becomes your normal. You stop registering it as tension. It's just how the body feels, right? You just don't even notice it anymore. So today's practice is a body scan, and the instruction isn't to relax, it's just to notice, okay? So I want you to start at the top of your head. Don't try to change anything. Just notice, is there holding like in your forehead or behind your eyes? And then move to your jaw. Are your teeth touching right now? Most of us, especially under chronic cortisol load, are holding a micro clench that we've completely stopped noticing. Just let the jaw drop slightly. Not a forced thing, okay? Just less. And then with your shoulders, where are they sitting? Could they drop half an inch? If so, let it, okay? And with your belly, have you been holding it in? Take one breath into it, let it expand. Your chest, your chest. Notice your breath without changing it. Is it shallow? Is your breath shallow? Sitting high up near your collarbone. That's a stress pattern breath. So let the next inhale drop lower into your belly instead. And your low back. If you've been sitting or standing braced today, it's likely holding more than it needs to. Let it soften into whatever is supporting you right now, whether it's the chair, the bed, the floor underneath you. And then your hips. There's often tension here that never gets acknowledged because it doesn't announce itself the way a clenched jaw does, right? I want you just to notice it. You don't have to do anything about it, okay? Just notice it. And then your thighs, your calves. Let them get heavy. Just let release. Let the surface beneath you hold their weight instead of your muscles holding it. And your hands, are your fingers slightly curled? I want you to open them. Your feet, even lying down, hold tension. Toes slightly curled, arches slightly gripped. I want you to let them go soft. And take one more breath. Let everything just go soft. Release it. Let it get heavy. That's it. You're not trying to achieve anything. Okay? You're just making the held state visible because a nervous system that can feel the tension is closer to releasing it than one that stopped registering it entirely. That's the way, or that's the body we're practicing today, y'all. Not stress-free, just less braced than it was, a minute ago. I want you to do that before you go to bed today, okay? Now, y'all, next Wednesday is the session I've been building towards all month of June. Inside of the build, my cohorts, what 8 weeks of protocol work actually looks like, what changes at each axis, in what sequence, and what that progression looks like in a body. It's the closest I'll go to showing you the how inside a free space, okay? And it's 4 days before, not really, it's a few days before cohort 2 opens. If something has been building for you across, these videos, these sessions, please come back and I'll see you then. Take care.